The story of this is, what are we, a week from Halloween? Is it a week? It's less than. It's
less than
6 days from today is Halloween. And in a new poll, 16% of people say, I've lived in a haunted house. I believe that I have lived in a haunted house. Biggie says yes.
100% I have.
You think you have lived in a haunted
100%.
At what point in your life, Biggie? The current?
Right now?
No.
Because I've heard some stories.
Me too. Yes.
I feel like I've lived, it was probably, so it was third, fourth grade, fourth and fifth grade.
Yeah.
And it was in Asheville, North Carolina.
And
we, without a doubt, and even my parents at the time, because my sister and myself told all these, I refused to sleep upstairs in my room. Like, I was upstairs, heard things all night long. One time my sister, we were out playing. We heard somebody call her name, but it sounded like, it was like, Megan. Oh, yeah. We both ran inside. Yeah.
That just got me. I'm puckered.
Oh, yeah.
I'm puckered.
Yeah, it wasn't like a teenage boy down the block.
Well, so my dad always swore that the neighbor was this older, creepy guy. And when we first moved in, apparently he said something to my dad like, you got a pretty daughter. Yeah. So my dad was like, she's never outside alone.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. And now let me say this too. This house, we were renting it from the guy. His mom lived in it. We started to figure out the mom probably died in the home.
Okay.
Now, the home was hand built by like stone by his father in like 1920 something.
So you think the ghost hung around?
Yes. And so later, when we moved out, my parents kept swinging because we'd run inside and say we heard something, come downstairs, in the middle of the night saying, I heard the closet open and close on its own.
Yes.
My parents, no, you're crazy.
Yes.
Well, once we were older, they were like, oh, yeah, we heard all kind of stuff.
Oh, they told you?
Yeah. Like my
They were
mom.
placating.
Yes. Oh, big. Well, we
had to
because
kids,
where we were
kids
living.
Sleep,
yeah.
Kids, right.
And like my mom said that there were often times she'd be like the basement was where the washer and dryer was, and she'd be down there and she'd hear like the door upstairs open and close, and she'd think it was my dad coming home for lunch. So she'd be like, I'll be up in a minute. And she'd go upstairs and no one was there. And they'd lay up at night and they'd hear voices. And they'd be like, well, he's up again. And they'd walk out to the living room while I'm sleeping on the couch. And they're like, so you ready for this part? Then after we moved out, about a year later, the place burnt down. And they never figured out what the fire was.
Well.
And my parents were like, we really think it was the
ghost.
The mother was like, no one else lives in my home.
We've had some very interesting calls through the years about ghost houses. One, our P1 listener had to fight off a ghost.
I was in the kitchen. I opened up the refrigerator, and I heard a gunshot right next to my ear. I mean, it vibrated right in my ear. I could tell it. I hit the floor, and my mother was in the living room, and she said, "What did you drop?" I said, I didn't drop nothing." I said, "Somebody shot," and I looked at the windows. I looked everywhere, and nothing had hit the floor. There wasn't, nothing happened. So about 3 years after that, I'm laying in the living room watching the TV on the couch and doze off, and all of a sudden I feel like somebody is on top of me on my side. I can feel their hand on my shoulder. They're was holding my head down. All I could see was like the curtains. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I was reaching back as like I was trying to grab their testicles because I thought it was a man that was on top of me. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? And I mean, it freaked me out.
Well, I bet.
I was scared to death, and I was screaming and hollering. I went back there, and I slept on the floor in my mother's room. And we have had several experiences since seeing things. And I was just screaming, leave the house, you wasn't invited, blah, blah, blah. I've never hallucinated ever in my life. I've never had it. But other people have seen stuff that, and my cousin will not step back foot in that house.
My God.
Holding my head down, it felt like they was biting my shoulder.
Man.
And when I reached back, I was trying to grab him by the testicles.
Good Lord.
All off of me, but nobody was there.
That's you grabbing the testicles of the ghost. You had to because it was that bad for her. You heard me. I was...
Oh, you were all in.
Fished right in. Hannah, you lived in a haunted house?
Yes, a very haunted house.
Really?
Yeah, so I am 33. I'm telling my age, but I'm 33, so I was about 8 or 9 years old, lived in it was my stepdad at the time, his house, very old farmhouse. and lots of creaks, lots of, you could hear the water flushing whenever you flush the toilet. You could hear it through the pipes. I mean, very old house.
Right.
So one day I was sleeping. I woke up to this noise. Couldn't figure out what it was. Went downstairs to my mom. My mom said, it's probably just, it's winter. It's probably just the pipes. Go ahead and go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember waking back up and having like a fear that something was watching me. So I woke up. I ended up opening up my bedroom closet door, and there was a little boy standing there in a white nightgown.
Oh my God! That just jeez, yeah.
I looked right at him. He looked right at me. He said hello. I said hello. I wasn't scared. I went downstairs. I said, Mom, there's a little boy in my closet, and she said, okay, well, just tell him to go away. I'm sure it's nothing. And I said, okay. So I went back upstairs. He's still there, standing right in front of me. And I said, can you please just go away? I'm trying to sleep. And he went away. And ever since then, there was no noise, no nothing. We were having closet doors shut. We were having footsteps throughout the house. Closets or cabinets, when we would wake up in the morning, we would go downstairs. Our kids' bedrooms were upstairs, and the parents were downstairs. And we would go downstairs in the morning. All of the cabinet doors would be completely wide open.
That's Poltergeist. That's from the movie Poltergeist.
That's the Poltergeist?
I just puckered up like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, you may have wet them. I'm going to have to sit in a wet seat in about an hour.
I just wet my pants, and Chris Dibbs got to sit in this chair.
Sit in that chair in about an hour.
That's an unbelievable story, Hannah. Thank you very much.
Hannah.
I picture him as a little white kid, little white, pale as a ghost kid. Like, hey, how are you? In your closet.
Racist.
Yeah,
totally.
I didn't know you could be racist in the ghost world, but
in the ghost world,
in the supernatural,
in the poltergeist world. He's a little white. He's a little white.
But
what he
it is always little white kids that are
ghosts.
Of course it is.
They're
because they're most annoying. Look at this one. He's on a leash. Yeah, they put him on leashes.
One more
white
quick
people.
Adam, one more quick call on it. Go ahead, Adam.
I live in Georgia now. In the 90s, my mom left when I was really young. We had a neighbor that passed away next door. And there was nights when I was a kid, you could smell cherry tobacco. And you could see this white thing walk across the hallway.
Why?
So I joined the service. When I joined the service, Bill Murray's brother started a ghost hunters show.
Yeah.
Huh.
Our house was the very first one he did.
Well, there you have it. And you saw the white apparition walking across the halls and so forth. That's pretty frightening, I would say. Well,
Ghostbustery.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. I'll tell you, we should continue this all next week as we get ready for...
Can I take the week off?
He don't like that. He don't believe in
Haunted
ghost
house stories.
I love haunted house stories. Two Guys Named Chris show. Rock 92. What about the girl that saw the little boy in her closet? He don't buy it.
Nah.
He never buys it.
Sorry, Hannah.
I'm picturing the little boy,
Pale skin, dark hair.
white with dark hair, maybe British. Maybe he says something, Probably died there in the 1800s. Biggie believes. Biggie lived in a haunted house. You hear what Chris Dim said? He don't believe it.
Hogwash.
American.
Well, he'll find out soon enough when I haunt him.
He sure will.